Hey everyone, my name is Juyang, and today I'd like to present about the brain-computer interface, focusing on its ethics and consequences. A bit about me, I'm a research engineer working at the Department of Defense, and I trust this topic because it closely aligns with my current work, where I focus on applying machine learning whilst also navigating the ethical challenges that come with the advanced technologies. So what is a brain-computer interface? According to the BCI study, which was formed in 2024 by the leading experts in the field, BCI is a system that measures brain activity and converts into a real-time, functional useful outputs to replace, restore, supplement, or improve the natural outputs of the brain by altering the interactions between the brain and its physical environments. Delving deeper, Figure 1 illustrates the basic operation of a brain-computer interface. The process begins with the user, whose neural signals are captured and then processed through the machine learning classification. These signals are translated into various commands, which are applied back to the user in a continuous feedback loop. However, as shown in Figure 2, some BCIs require invasive methods to mount, which introduces the potential medical and safety risks. And as Figure 6 highlights on the bottom right, machine learning pipelines rely on large volumes of neural data. This raises important questions. Where does the data come from, and is it being collected and used ethically? Reviewing the key ethical questions surrounding the invasive BCI highlighted in box 1, we can deduce that as complexity increases, so too does the tension between innovation and ethics. At the same time, as shown in the figure on the bottom left, BCI also holds enormous potential, from auditory visual aids to prosthetic control, offering life-changing benefits for some users. Finally, survey results from researchers in this field, highlighted in the green section of the plot, suggest that it may not always be necessary for brain activity to contain detailed information about a user's intention. This could be a positive sign, as it may help reduce the scale of privacy concerns. Here, I have highlighted the key stakeholders involved in the brain-computer interface. First, the patient and the users, as they are the potential future users seeking the cognitive enhancement or accessibility of support. And we have the healthcare providers and researchers who are going to then advance the technology forward. And we have the technological companies who are then going to transform that technology into an actual product. And of course, we will have the governments and regulators who will have to set the right rules and set the right ethical frameworks prior to deployment. I also want to note that in analyzing any of these stakeholders or in general, I consider broader frameworks such as PASL and ethical decision-making models to ensure these perspectives are addressed comprehensively. Looking at the benefits, the top figure compares the improvements before and after the treatment in BCI group versus the traditional post-stroke rehab methods. Both groups improved, but the BCI group shows stronger functional connectivity with activation across diverse brain regions compared to the traditional methodologies. This demonstrates the efficacy of BCI in enhancing recovery. Building on, when BCIs are paired with external devices like robotics or visual feedback, the gains become even greater. As shown in the bottom figure, patients experience higher effectiveness and reduced training time, which were both reflected by the positive mean differences across multiple subgroups. Focusing also on the inclusion side, BCIs can offer not just the technical advances, but the potential for life-changing impact. As shown by the videos, they can provide a new start or continue their normal life that they would have missed otherwise. And these opportunities extend far beyond one company. The studies highlighted in the bottom right shows how BCIs are being trialed in diverse areas, from spinal injury recovery to traumatic brain injury, pointing to the broader future potential of this technology. On the clinical safety side, the top right figure shows collated instructions within their trials. Most of these studies have carefully designed methodologies and transparent reporting, reinforcing that BCIs are being developed with patient safety and ethical oversight in mind. Looking at the global trend over the last decades, BCIs have clearly become a one hot topic across many nations, especially in China and across Europe. China appears to be moving faster with fewer regulatory barriers, But it's also clear that regions with stricter frameworks, like the European and the United States, are pushing this technology forward as well. For Australia, this creates an entry to maturing technology by balancing innovation with strong ethical and regulations. In contrast, when we look at the ethics and risk, there are serious concerns, particularly around the privacy of data collected and stored through the BCIs. As shown in Figure 2, there are two main points about the vulnerability: the data itself and the models used to process it. The figure on the bottom right highlights how complex it can be to defend against the data attacks, which adds significant cost to achieving the proper security level as well. At the same time, as shown from the bottom left figure, BCIs may store highly sensitive personal information. This raises not only technical security challenges, but also deeper ethical issues around autonomy and consent. As mentioned earlier, to access or benefit from some BCI treatment, invasive techniques may be required, which bring potential medical and safety risks. Looking at Table 6, we can also see that even when focusing on systematic risk alone, many complex steps are involved in adopting BCIs, with several rated at medium to high level criticality. Finally, the schematic diagram on the bottom left highlights that ethical considerations must remain central. It really reminds us that users and their values need to be at the core of this technology development. And also, as with many other technological advances, there is also the potential for the military adoption of BCIs, where brain signals could be transmitted remotely to the robotic devices during military missions. The table here shows the scale of investment with where both the United States and China are dedicating billions of dollars in this BCI research. Notably, China produces 10 times more researchers in this area, with up to 300,000 contributing, which raises long-term concerns about competition, security, and the ethical direction of this technology. So, should we invest in brain-computer interface? I suggest the adoption of brain-computer interface, but with strong ethical safeguards considered throughout their development and use. As shown in the schematic on the top left, adding encryption and decryption at the transmitter stage can help reduce the security risk. We can also strengthen our governance within the structured frameworks, like those illustrated in the bottom figure, where BCI procedures are carefully aligned at both the technological and at the systematic levels. Finally, the figure on the right demonstrates that even when privacy-protected signals are used, performance loss is minimal. This suggests we can help advance BCI technology responsibly with privacy and security built into the design. As Australia has not fully adopted BCI technology, one approach will be to split regulation into phases. As shown in the figure 1, in the early or emerging phase, technology readiness levels or TRLs are low and performance is limited, meaning data pooling is often needed to build real-world products. In this stage, privacy and security solutions must be carefully matched to protect users without blocking their innovation. As BCIs progress into the more mature phase with higher readiness and performance, we can then shift towards the more advanced safeguards such as distributed or federated data solutions. This phased approach ensures regulation evolves alongside the technology, addressing the privacy and security challenges at every stage of their development. From a national interest perspective, the global distribution of scientific research shows that high research outputs are concentrated in only a few leading nations, with many others still behind. This highlights both the competitiveness, pressures, and also opportunity for countries like Australia to invest and catch up to the trend. We also see, as shown in Part B, extensive collaborations across European nations. These connections demonstrate the strong potential for international partnerships, which Australia collaborates to build both capability and ethical leadership in this technology. Looking at the heat map of keywords generated in the BCI research, it's also clear that much of the focus comes from the primary sciences and high academic profiles. For Australia, this highlights a stronger opportunity. As fields like bioengineering are relatively small niche markets in Australia, expanding them through BCI research could create new jobs, strengthen our local talent pipeline, and also ensure that both skills and technology remain within the country. And of course, to build the right foundation for BCI adoption, we can consider the Australia's AI ethics framework. This framework already sets out the key principles such as the human-centered values and privacy protection, which align closely with the challenges BCIs currently present. By adopting and applying these principles, we can guide the development of BCIs in a way that is both innovative and ethically responsible. In summary, brain-computer interfaces have the potential to transform the lives in many ways, from restoring communications to driving innovation. At the same time, we must address the important ethical issues such as the privacy, safety, equity, and autonomy. By embedding encryption, strong regulation, and ethical frameworks into their development, I believe that BCIs can develop these benefits responsibly and become a positive force in the future of IT. Thank you.